We spent over $12,000 to answer one question: which top-tier computer is better, Mac or Windows? In one corner, we have the MacBook Pro M5 Max, the very best of Apple, while in the other, we have the MSI Titan 18HX AI. Good luck finding a more powerful Windows computer. We tested both across 8 different categories, and one lost a fight it honestly should have won. Hey, I'm Olive, your host here at Versus.com, and let's step into the racetrack. The MacBook is more like a refined Rolls-Royce. It's elegant and slim with a full aluminium construction, but it's still loaded with power. The MSI, on the other hand, screams performance like a Lamborghini. It features an aluminium alloy chassis and RGB lighting in every corner to let you know it means business. Though this MSI is more like a chunky Lamborghini SUV. It weighs 8 pounds, which is 59% more than the 4.7-pound MacBook. On top of that, it packs a massive 400-watt power brick compared to the tiny 140-watt charger of the Mac. But the MSI absolutely wipes the floor with Apple in an area where MacBooks have always lacked: ports. The Titan gives you 3 USB-A ports, 2 Thunderbolt 5, HDMI, an SD card reader, Ethernet, and of course a 3.5mm headphone jack. The Mac only gives you 3 USB-C Thunderbolt 5 ports, HDMI, an SD card reader, MagSafe, and a headphone jack. So you better have a dongle with you at all times. But we were really surprised when it came to the keyboards, because the Titan has this clicky, mechanical feel that is so satisfying. We're not saying the Mac's keyboard is bad, but the Titan's is just on another level. Though for navigation, even if the Titan has a funky RGB haptic trackpad, the MacBook's Force Touch trackpad is still leagues ahead. So round 1 is kind of a tie, but in round 2, you'll see that spending more than $2,000 still won't save you from a major annoyance on the MacBook's display. So the MSI gives you almost 2 extra inches of screen real estate, which is perfect if you always have 99 tabs open, just like me. But it doesn't come as a surprise that the MacBook's panel is just brighter, topping out at 1,147 nits compared to the 801 nits on the Titan. Not everyone would agree, but we would love to have OLED for an even better HDR experience. Speaking of which, both laptops support standard HDR, but the Mac takes the win with HDR10 and Dolby Vision support. But it takes a massive loss because of that. What is that? It's so annoying that you pay so much money and your display has a giant bite taken out of the top. And a clear sign that nobody likes that notch is that not even Windows computers have copied it. Sorry, it had to be said. Though a big counterpoint is ProMotion, which dynamically adapts the frame rate depending on what you're doing. The Titan also has Windows variable refresh rate to save battery, but spoiler, our battery drain test tells a very different story. So for this round, we have to give the win to the MacBook. I know that notch is super ugly, but it still has higher overall brightness, superior HDR support, and ProMotion is just chef's kiss. Now for all the screen specs, you can pause the video right here. But look, pretty pixels mean nothing without absolute power behind them. And our next round of tests will show you one of these should come with a fire hazard warning. Here we just have the best of the best inside these computers, with amounts of processing power and RAM that most of us mere mortals will never even need. But let's hit the drag strip and show you how these behemoths handle our extreme testing. And just as a safety precaution, we do have a fire extinguisher nearby. For our tests, both computers were plugged in, restarted after each benchmark, and cooled down between tests. Let's start with a bang. Cinebench stress tests the CPU and GPU to render complex 3D environments, and surprise, surprise, the MacBook was the absolute best in both multi-thread and single-thread. But the Titan is no Twingo. An M5 MacBook Air, for example, only gets around 3,500 points for multi-thread. As for GPU scores, well, the win goes to the Titan, which leaves the MacBook in an awkward position. The next stage is Geekbench 6, where for the second time, the MacBook gave the Titan a serious run for its money. But not so fast, because when we switch over to the OpenCL GPU test, the Titan slingshots from second to first once again, absolutely demolishing the Mac. And I hope you're enjoying the drama, because in the heavy steel Nomad 3D Mark benchmark, the Titan once again went through it like a casual walk in the park, whereas the Mac was on pins and needles. But we're far from over, and for you gamers, we have a little something in just a second. Blender also pushes the CPU and GPU just like Cinebench, and this one was incredibly tight, with the Titan winning 2 out of 3 renderings, though the MacBook was super close in one of those. As for storage speeds, we basically have a tie, with the MacBook being faster in 4 storage tests and the Titan winning in the other 4. But those are just benchmarks. What you really want to see is how this performance translates to real life. And you also need to see how one of these just fails at running Cyberpunk 2077. But before that, let's start with a photo expert of 99 photos in Lightroom, where the Titan just took a narrow 3-second advantage over the MacBook. In DaVinci Resolve, we put together a 10-minute 4K 25 FPS project and hit render. The Titan asserted total dominance over Apple's pretty computer, taking less than 3 minutes. If you want to see if the MacBook takes the win in Premiere, given how popular MacBooks are for running Adobe productivity apps, we have good and bad news. The bad news is that even with rendering a 4K video here, the Titan absolutely smashed the MacBook with a massive time advantage. But the good news is that switching to an 8K resolution project, the MacBook caught the Titan by surprise and scored its very first real-world test win. But we have one more test to be done here with one of the most demanding games out there, Cyberpunk 2077. For all of you who love frames per second, you can achieve 120 FPS with the medium graphics preset on the MacBook. But the Titan, you can easily reach those FPS on the high setting, all while also maintaining far higher FPS altogether. On the other hand, if you want a great balance of visuals and around 60 FPS, you're gonna have to set the Mac on the Ray Tracing Ultra preset, which looks amazing. Though once again, the Titan goes a step further with Ray Tracing Overdrive. And yup, FPS are just better sustained altogether. As expected, both computers were spinning those fans like crazy and got incredibly hot, with the Titan hitting 128 degrees alongside high noise decibels, though it's not like the Mac stayed as fresh as a glass of lemonade. And if you want to know what happens when you absolutely max out the graphics and turn off all party tricks like frame generation, upscaling, and select path tracing instead of regular ray tracing, well, both just fall off a cliff like Squidward. The MacBook gave us an 8 FPS slideshow, and while the Titan was technically better, 13 FPS is not exactly going to make your gaming experience a delight. So while benchmarks mostly put the Mac as the winner, you can see that in real world, there's just no stopping the Titan. And these are the tests that matter. Plus, another Windows advantage is game compatibility. Literally everything runs on this machine. Just maybe keep a fire extinguisher under your desk. As for OS versions, we have macOS 26 on the Mac and Windows 11 on the Titan. Apple usually gives around 7 years of software support for its hardware, whereas Windows offers pretty much a whole decade of support on its machines. Given the times we're living in, we have AI shoved down our throats constantly, and Titan even has it in its name. We have Apple Intelligence on the MacBook and Microsoft Copilot on the Titan, though honestly, Cortana was a way cooler name. Other than that, MSI makes sure to provide you with every setting you might ever need to tweak your graphics, display, battery, and so much more. So if you really want to tweak every single thing, the MSI is the way to go. So taking our testing and all of these features into account, we can declare the Titan is the performance winner. But hold on, because the next categories can flip these scores in a heartbeat. It's finally time to see how the battery life on both of these Coliseum compares. On paper, they're the same, but in practice, one of these got us laughing out loud. So both computers max out at the absolute limit for legal battery sizes, which is 100 watt-hours. When it comes to charging, it hits 140 watts on the Mac and a staggering 400 watts on the Titan. You can also charge this one via USB-C, but if you're gonna play games at ultra graphics, you better not. And this brings us to our infamous battery test, which proves that all that horsepower means absolutely nothing if you don't have the mileage to back it up. We sat both laptops side by side and launched a wide array of tasks like video streaming, web scrolling, and even a bit of wuthering waves for good measure. And we just let them run until they said arrivederci. And surprise, surprise, the Titan's life bar completely depleted in just a little over an hour. You can literally see it go down. The MacBook survived for around 3.5 hours, which is not amazing, but it's still 3 times longer than the Windows behemoth. That scores the MacBook the easiest win in this comparison. I mean, that battery life is just laughable. But before we give you our honest thoughts, let's finish with a quick look at the camera and speaker performance, though once you hear those speakers, you'll see it's not even a contest. So here's the type of video quality you'd be getting from both of these devices. The first thing I'm straight away noticing is that the Titan is a lot more saturated compared to the MacBook. I mentioned that the Titan looks more saturated while looking at the Titan's display, but once we checked both videos on a calibrated monitor, they're not that different. So here we are in low light conditions, and I can instantly see that the MacBook is performing a lot better than the Titan. Look at that grain. That's insane, although I am well lit. For low light, there's just no beating the MacBook. As for audio, the Mac also sounds louder, though there's some echo on my voice. And now, prepare your ears for an audio sample.
That's how I get it. Success ain't no given. Some days I don't hit, I don't slay. When I'm focused, I'm dangerous. Down, wanna when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank. I'm running on fumes. The hopper system don't amaze. The roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag. I know that's because I've been in it.
I mean, do I even need to say it? The 6 speakers on this MacBook are absolutely bomb. If you're picking up the Titan, you better put some cash aside for a good pair of headphones. That means the MacBook scores another easy win. All right. The question was, which of these maxed out devices is actually better, Mac or Windows? Well, the Titan wins in real-world performance against the MacBook, but that performance is so incredibly close that I think we can all agree it makes total sense to save $1,200 and just get the $4,399 Mac. Plus, you can easily use that saved cash to buy an RGB gaming chair. However, and it's a big however, if your main priority is gaming, you don't even have to look at a compatibility list with the Titan. This machine can run anything, even Candy Crush, though it is going to cost you a staggering $5,599. For that money, I bet some of you are thinking that it's cheaper to build a desktop PC, and you would be right, because this Titan is going absolutely nowhere with that footprint and terrible battery life. Going back to our scores, we can say the MacBook is the better overall machine. It is far from cheap, and most of us don't need this power, but it perfectly answers our big question. The MacBook is the best, most powerful computer you can buy right now, if you don't care about gaming. But coming back to the real world, the MacBook Pro Max is actually a terrible value when you compare it to the rest of this year's lineup. Click right here to find out why. In the meantime, let us know in the comments which of these two fits your lifestyle the best. Also, in case you want exclusive access to videos and perks, go press that join button. Here's a very special shout out to our latest Ultra members, Adil Khan, Rowan, Krishna, Allison, Blazar, Jean, Roshit, and Izael. And before you go play Forza Horizon 6, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and hit subscribe, because we're always testing the latest tech to help you make the best choice. We'll see you in our next video, and until then, take care.